Disgorging without freezing, what is it, how do you do it, and why would you do it? We'll start out with an overview of the champagne method. Essentially, you ferment a liquid, I'll just say wine or cider, as you normally would. Then you put it in the bottle, and typically you would add some sugar. And so the yeast that is still active will eat the sugar and cause another fermentation, leaving you with the alcohol. The bottles are stored upright, a layer of yeast on the very bottom, and extra carbon dioxide that is like what you would find in a beer or in champagne. Now that itself is just called bottle fermentation or bottle priming, but what makes this the champagne method, not champagne by the way, I am in America, but what makes this the champagne method is what we do next, which is the process of turning the bottles upside down, turning them every day so the yeast doesn't stick to the side, and eventually getting the bottles so they are totally upright, and the yeast will fall out of suspension and in by the cap. And once that yeast is settled in the bottom, there are a couple of ways to do this. Typically, you would freeze it and create a little plug of frozen yeast and just a little bit of wine. Then you would pop the cap off and the pressure blows that plug out. I've seen and I've tested that you can do it without freezing it as well, and that's what we're covering here. Removing the yeast allows for a clearer drink. This is one that has been shaken up, while this one from the same batch has not been. And it allows you to back sweeten so you don't have a completely dry zero sugar drink. Now, why would you do this without ice? Oftentimes it takes a little bit of a setup to be able to freeze this. Typically people use like super cold propylene glycol or dry ice or just a brine saltwater mixture, but that can be kind of hard and it can take some time, and there's just another way to do it. So the way you do this is by holding the bottle upside down, getting your bottle opener on there, and then beginning to tip up. And once that bubble passes the shoulder, you kind of snap it up and at the same time pop the cap off, and that bubble will just blow out the rest of the yeast. You might be thinking, well, won't the yeast just fall back into the bottle? And you'd be surprised at how slowly the yeast moves. This bottle has been sitting for a few days, the yeast is mostly settled out. And you can see that even when we turn it upside down and disturb the yeast, it still takes a little bit for the yeast to actually fully mix into the solution and become cloudy. So if we do this quick, that yeast will just get pushed out. With that being said, orthopraxis means doing things right, and so if you're thinking about doing this and you want to do it right, I would suggest just freezing part of the neck of the bottle. It's a lot easier in the long run, and it doesn't take as much skill to get it right.